Mochunkstv. Is Christianity the most suspected religion? A lot of people have had a lot to say about Lil Nas X's recent video. When this all came out, a lot of people had a lot to say in terms of, his mocking Christianity. Another one that I saw recently was this lady that wore like a Catholic gown, but it was like a sexy shoe. That's blasphemy, isn't it? The world is not going to bend around a single religion. With Lil Nas X, I can see the trauma, but I think some people do go out of their way to just be downright disrespectful. Like, is Christianity the most suspected religion? A lot of people have had a lot to say about Lil Nas X's recent video. What's the name of the song? Call me what you want, call me when you need. Na, 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 na. It's actually really catchy. The video is called Call Me By Your Name, and it's caused a lot of controversy, the music video. It starts off really like, nice and floral, very, I would call it maybe like an alternative world. I wouldn't necessarily call it spiritual straight away. And then it kind of goes into the scene that everyone, or majority Christians have been like screaming about, and that was the scene where he basically gives the devil a lap dance and then he snaps his neck and puts the devil's crown on his head. When this all came out, a lot of people had a lot to say in terms of, his mocking Christianity, and this world has gone way too far in terms of how we treat Christianity, etc., etc., etc. And it's all very interesting, guys. He himself went on his TikTok when there was a hullabaloo around this music video, and he basically said that all his life, being in the church, growing up in a very like conservative Christian family, he's been subjected to a lot of like homophobia, to a lot of oppression within the church. He hasn't really been allowed to be himself, and basically left that circle. And it's kind of like a big FU, this music video, to them. And in the TikTok as well that he put up, he said that a lot of Christians have told him to go to hell, and now he did go to hell, referring to his music video, and now they have a problem with that as well. Like, kill a fair kind of thing. Like, what do you guys actually want? The reactions to that TikTok have been varying as well. But I do love the heart of the Christians that are able to see beyond what others are taking as an offense, and actually looking at the heart behind what he did and the heart behind the things that he's saying. Clearly, a religion or a set of people, an organization called the church, has failed him when he was growing up. Some of the teachings that he might have heard, some of the abuse that he might have been subjected to because he's a gay man, has led him to walk away from those people and systems, and perhaps led him to walk away from God. I can't conclude that from the video, but he definitely did mention church people. I'm glad some people were able to see that and see the hurt behind what he's gone through, but others weren't. Others were so ready to defend God and defend Christianity. First of all, God doesn't need you to defend him. Like, I just want some Christians to just calm down in that regard. Yes, we love God, and yes, we love our faith. But God doesn't need anyone to defend him. God is a defender of people. He defends us and fights our battles. We don't need to fight God's battles for him. What we are called to do, however, is love. Love God and love people. Like, if every commandment in the Bible could be summarized, it's literally love God and love people. Stop overcomplicating it. Literally, I saw Christine Kane post on her Instagram the other day, and it's like, just love God and love people. Of course, the Bible is a guide, and we're meant to read it and add teachings from it to our lives and apply it and become more like Christ. But literally, the simple way you can understand Christianity and the things that we're called to do is literally love God and love people. I think if you're doing that, it's very hard to falter into homophobia, to falter into treating people like they're less than you, to abusing other people, to doing various different things. Love literally is the prerequisite for a good Christian life. But a lot of people find that so hard to do, and they go straight into bigotry, and then they try to use scripture to back it up. If you're leading with love, it wouldn't have to be so backwards, and you wouldn't have to be hurting so many people and pushing them away from the church. It's sad that even Christians, and listen, like in this last year or so, I've had difficulty, I'm not going to lie to you, with church people. I've had great difficulty. Of course, I've had great community and people that I really love that have encouraged me and poured into me. Like, I'm forever grateful for them. But there are some that have left like a really bad taste in my mouth and just almost pushed me away from even wanting community. And there's people like that they've gotten to that stage where it's like, I don't even want it anymore. I don't even want to be a part of this. I think it's really hard seeing Christians go through that or reach that tipping point where they're like, bye, I'm done, because community is important as a part of the Christian journey. I do think 2020 has been a year that's unveiled a lot of injustices within different organizations, including the church. It's been necessary for the exposure of and separating the wheat from the chaff. I think it's been a necessary season. The fact that we're constantly having these conversations, I think it still highlights that there is still some self-reflection to take place within the body. And that's me as well. I'm included. What am I doing wrong? Who am I pushing away from Christ because of how I've treated them? And that's not to say that we're expecting Christians to be perfect, because that's another thing. We're not perfect. We're an imperfect church. Because I don't go out of your way to be imperfect. Like, do you understand? There's some people that you're not even trying. You're not even trying right now. You're really overdoing it with the meanness, the abuse. You're really overdoing it. Like, why don't you try and be more like Christ, a bit more, just try and be a bit kinder to people. Try and love people a bit better, rather than being up in arms about Christianity being the most disrespected religion. And even if it is, isn't it in scripture that we're going to be persecuted? Isn't it in scripture that Christians are going to be persecuted? Isn't it in scripture that during the end times, things are going to come out that are going to go against religion? Isn't it in scripture that we are in the world, but not of the world? So I just don't know why we're always so shocked when people in the world are behaving like the world, or they don't quite have the same moral standing as people that are in church. I don't know why we are shocked when people think differently to us, when they haven't been indoctrinated in a certain system, or they haven't been taught certain things in a certain system, or they don't accept certain things from a certain system. We're always so shocked, like the Cardi B video. What's that song called? WAP. The WAP video. Like, what did you what did you expect there to be a choir? Like, the world is welded. So you two be more like Christ. I do think there are conversations though that you can have within your circle. Do you have to put it on social media that you're so repulsed? Like, how dare they do that on the VMAs, or what award show was it? I think there was an MTV. What awards was it the other day that they say, how dare they do that? Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion kind of perform WAP on TV. Like, the world is not responsible for what our children are watching or whatever it may be. And I know that TV isn't as censored as it used to be. Like, I totally understand that there's nuance when it comes to like censorship and what's put on TV. But the world is not going to bend around a single religion. I do think we need to stop crying about and bickering about these things a little bit more, and just accept that yes, persecution will come as part of the package, but also focus on loving people and seeing behind some of the things that people say and do, and actually focus on the human. Lil Nas X is a person that's been through things. Let's focus on, I'm not saying we're going to go there and repair everything that he's been through, because we probably cannot. That's trauma for you. But at least we can be better to the next person. Another one that I saw recently was this lady that wore like a Catholic gown, but it was like a sex issue. That's blasphemy, isn't it? I do have to look at it the other way in terms of, yes, some of us have faltered, but also I do think some people do push it in terms of why did you choose that particular imagery. With Lil Nas X, I can see the trauma, but I think some people do go out of their way to just be downright disrespectful. Like, what was the reason? What was the correlation? It's meant to be a sacred gown, but you've purposefully, stripped. It's all very interesting. You guys let me know. Is Christianity the most disrespected religion? We're now going to go into the last part of the show where I get to have a conversation with Kanayo. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Do make sure you liked it if you liked it, share with your friends. Comment below on the things I spoke about and subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time, guys, peace and love. Peace and chunks.